We are supposed to be live. Yes, now you're supposed to see me. We are live. First of all, thank you very much for every one of you who is connecting to the live stream because of the 1,000 subscribers. Sorry if I'm not always watching to the camera, but because I have two screens today, too many things to manage at the same time. Today I'm gonna walk you through the complete process of making a podcast, how we record it, how we distribute it, how we edit it. It's not a very difficult process. It's supposed to be made easy for all those people who want to start a podcast. And it's quite complicated. It's not complicated, but if you need to find the things one after the other, as I did, it can get a little complicated. So I decided to do like a full live stream where you can see how we record, how we edit, and so on. So let's go through the process. Today we're going to be editing the podcast number 123 with Timo Harbo Solner. He is a Danish structural engineer and computational design expert. So I'm gonna go into my shared screen view, and you can start seeing a little bit how it works. So I want to show you that the whole Creative Insider podcast, everything you know, it is on Dropbox. So in case something goes wrong, we have the Dropbox. Everything is in the cloud. So if something goes wrong, like we have an extra copy, because I have experiences with hard disks, and hard disks sometimes go broken. So how do we record everything? Everything is recorded in OBS Studio. So I'm gonna shift a little bit the screen here so you can see it. This is OBS Studio, with which I'm also streaming right now. And we have these options here to record a video call. The problem with the free versions of platforms like Teams or Zoom or Google Meet is that they have a limited amount of time after which the call stops and everybody needs to hop on again. And that's very not the best solution if you have a longer form podcast like this one. So we record on OBS with one little page I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to drop this away from here. You can go into, I'm going to show you. So for example, this is one option. You go on video.ninja. And this is something that I learned from Federico Biancullo, who is the blogger of Control Z blog in Italy. And because he streams on Twitch and sometimes on YouTube, so I asked him, how do you do it? Because also StreamYard, it's a paid platform. You have up to 20 hours per month, and also the quality of the recording is not as high. So here you can create a room. It's very simple. You can call the room whatever you want, test room. You can make up password, this is something going on in the background. So test room, password 1234. I mean, you don't even need to have a password. I'm gonna just, so you can click both, enter the room, control center and director. So a room as participant rather than a director. I go into director mode. So what I do here is only one settings. I do the show active speaker because I want the speaker to be switching. I don't like the split screen solution when streaming because in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense to have a split screen. It's much nicer to have like the person who is speaking in full screen and the person who is listening just off the screen. So also I can drink water or can... I don't know what is this message, doesn't matter. But here, this link, you copy the link into OBS and then you can capture the whole group scene. And this link, you copy the link, send it to your guests, and your guests, we can check how it works. I also joined from this link. So you go here and you have join with camera, and now I cannot join with camera because the camera is in use, but you can see the camera is in use, and the person joins with their camera, and this is how it works basically. So this is how we record the podcast, and this is an unlimited version. It's quite good quality. Another thing that I have, it's the Rodecaster Pro. I'm gonna show you how it looks like here. Rodecaster Pro is this thing. This is the second version. I have the first edition, which I think is this one. It costs about 500 euros. The new version, it's a little more expensive, but it has some features that are quite handy to have. With this one, I record the audio separately. This is very handy to record my audio and the audio of the guests on separate tracks. And I'm going to show you later in the edit what are the advantages of having two tracks. So for the video, what you're watching me on now is the ZV-10. A great camera from Sony. I think I paid a little less than what you see here. I got the kit with lens and microphone, and then I have an extra microphone, but I don't use it while the live stream. This camera is great because you have the opportunity to plug in the camera as a webcam on your computer, and you don't need anything else, and it was meant for streamers and vloggers. And it also has swappable lenses, so you can change the lens, but the lens you get in the initial one, it's quite good. I haven't bought another lens, but if you want me to get better lenses, you feel free to join the Patreon group below. It's just $5 a month, and you'll be having the full insider experience. So this is so much to the kit. I also have the Shure SM7B with this extension here and the Rode arm. This is a very expensive microphone. I bought it because it looks nice. And I think a design podcast has to have nice looking, it has to look nice. But also I have a Rode pod mic, I think it's called. Let's check. Pod mic. Yeah, this is a great solution. Doesn't look that bad. It's just $114 and it sounds great, and it has a lot of presets in the Rodecaster Pro. So this is so far for gear. But when I started, I just did it with just audio podcasts with my phone. So if you're starting a podcast, don't focus on the gear. You can try, test, and see if if you like doing a podcast, and then you can upgrade later on. But I would suggest you to buy for every single item you buy. If you decide to to do this for long term, buy the best, because if you buy something that's of a lower quality, and at the end of the day it won't work very well, and then you end up buying both the shitty quality and the good quality. So go for the expensive stuff directly. It's gonna be cheaper. So let's go into how we edit the podcast. This is the Creative Insider folder, as I told you. Everything is on Dropbox. We have, so more to the invitation. So we have this folder organization, we have podcast invitation, and in this folder we have editable invitations. So for example, I'm gonna I use the Adobe Suite for almost everything that's podcast related. I'm gonna show you in how it looks, the invitation looks like. So every guest gets this podcast invitation, official invitation. It's very important this is the wrong naming, it was for someone else. But yeah, every guest gets this invitation, so they look quite important when they get it. It looks nice, well designed. It's signed by me. This is not really my signature, but it was a nice font to make a signature. And then we have here why we picked you and the topics of our conversation. These are topics so that people can a little bit expect what we're gonna be talking about. And this is an interactive PDF. So here they have saved the date and they go on Calendly, which is this platform. I can show you maybe here in the browser. If you go to Calendly, this is it. And you can log in here and set up your own stuff. Yeah. So this is so far. Yeah. So this is how we do the podcast. Now let's go into the edit. The edit, it's in Premiere Pro. I'm gonna open the Premiere Pro to show you how it looks like. So there is nothing fancy. You can edit the whole podcast with very few video editing skills. I would suggest, I did a class on video editing on Udemy for like $10 or something like that. It's always great to do one of those courses because for $10 you get really solid base on how to edit a video. And it's great because, for example, I'm an architect, I'm not a video editor. I didn't have any video editing skills before. And this is great stuff to learn the basics. And afterwards you can build up on YouTube because you can learn some cool stuff on YouTube. But if you don't know how the program generally works, gets a little complicated. So, by the way, if you want to ask questions, the chat is open. You have to only subscribe to the channel and you can ask me stuff in the live chat if you have any questions. So let's start with the hands-on things. So we start with a new project. This is how it looks like. I pick up the folder, choose location. So this is the last one I've edited. I go to the podcast with Timo. I select the folder and I don't call it anything fancy. I call it podcast with Timo. And creates this project. This is the view. So now in this folder, in this file, I'm gonna drop in the stuff that are regarding the video. So I go to videos, YouTube. This is, again, I have everything in this structured folder. So if I go to videos, I have several things going on here. Then I have YouTube. In YouTube, I have shorts, and then I have full episodes. And here I name the folder with the year, month, day. And then I go here, and we have several things here. What we need for sure, it's audio. If you drag and drop the folder in here, you'll get the whole folder structure, and then we have footage. Footage is going to take a little longer probably, and here we have the podcast. So once we go in footage, this thing, it's the full podcast with Timo. And then I go to new secrets, new sequence from clip. Okay, and this is my full podcast with Timo. You see that this is the audio, but you don't see the audio bar. Sometimes it has this problem. So you have to go here in sequence, render audio. Oops. Sorry. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. This is a bug into the system of... no, see? Now I zoomed in and the bars started. So if it's too loud, the desktop audio, let me know. Maybe it's... I don't know. I hear it a little too loud. Probably I have to go a little lower on my earphones, headset volume. I did. So I always start recording a little bit beforehand because I'm afraid to forget to press record. So I have to go into the spot where I say hello. Let's see if it's this one.
You can say the ventilation kind of things. We were introduced to all these things. But then at the end, I specialized in structural.
Okay, so no, it was beforehand. Now I remember when I was recording the podcast with Timo, I was messing around with the audio levels, and that was not a good thing. So it was a little bit before. So let's see. This is a little
But
bit.
is it maybe
Pre-chat? Yeah, probably somewhere here. Yep, we are live. We're going live now. In a few seconds. Yes, we are live. So, hello. Yep, so this is where I say hello, Timo. I cut all this shit that we recorded and we don't need. Another thing is probably I have some stuff extra that I recorded at the end of the podcast that I have to cut off.
Joy?
So let's see. To Björk Ingels or to someone. So wait, before I to reach people in a world that the architectural union here of the region. This is way April. I will edit it. So here we have all the time live because sometimes they. Okay.
Or
yeah.
Anything. But a curious question: how many were actually on?
So we recorded quite a bit after the end of the show. We're contributing with just €5 a month. Okay. We have the green room. So and thank you here. Everyone who joined. Have a good rest of your day.
Same to you. Bye bye.
Okay, so this is a great end. He says bye bye. And then we delete all this stuff. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix the audio level in the beginning. And this is very important. Here kicks in the Rodecaster Pro stuff. So we have audio. And in audio, we have the podcast with Timo. And in a podcast with Timo, what we need is the microphone number 3, which is my microphone. And that's not good for whatever reason. Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong. This is intro. Podcast with Timo, number 3. And we have also podcast with Timo USB. So you can see this is the USB. And this is my microphone. So now we have 2 different tracks. And I have to synchronize those tracks with my... Hello, Timo. So one thing that I do sometimes is of course, they need to be together. So what I do is I take the video and I cut it and I say, you go away for now. When you cut, you never delete actually, you just cut, but then you can extend it back. I can show you here, see? I can re-extend back. So what you can do is take these 2 tracks and tell them synchronize audio, and then it will take a little bit because actually I guess the program still synchronizes the whole track, not only this little piece. This is why I'm supposing it takes a little longer. The other option is to play around with it like manually, like by shifting back and forth. But I always test this version first because it's just a little more handy, so to say. So now it's this thing. Let's see if it worked out.
Is that better?
Yeah. So here we have this stuff. Oh, hello. So you can do solo. Hello, Timo. Welcome Perfect. To the podcast. The problem now is that I have to move all this stuff here. And okay, no, it worked. These stuff are still aligned. So basically I have to move them till here, move this till here, extend this to where it was before. Oh, now we have a problem that it's again too much. Okay, that you don't hear it because I'm still in solo.
If I go
have
back
to
to when
have
I
to-
was like even studying
So this was one of the last questions.
to avoid just sitting here.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable for many people that work from home. Somewhere here. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah. So here's the.
Same to you. Bye bye.
Okay. So now we cut off this stuff. We cut off in the same stuff the audio. We do extend this stuff to the end. And now we're gonna do this simple thing, which is called unlink. And we remove this audio because we don't need it anymore. And now we do this and this. And what I do usually is link them at least like this. So now you see we have the two audios. But usually my microphone, I think, catches up a little bit of the headphones because they're very loud. So what I do is I go through this stuff. And okay, before we cut it, I'm gonna show you what I do before that. So one thing that is great, like a lot of people are saying, many creators are switching to, I don't know, what is it called? DaVinci. DaVinci is for free, but I'm not so skilled with DaVinci. But I love a lot this software because it has a lot of great things. Great functions. So I go usually to effect sounds, then it goes to dialogue. It's super stupid. Go to loudness and then go auto match. So what this thing does, it levelates the audio for the perfect, how do you say, gain for a conversation. And once you see this yellow FX here, it means that this edit has kicked in. And I do the same thing for Timo's audio. And now you're gonna see that it's gonna be probably gaining some, the wave's gonna get bigger. It takes a little bit. Yeah, you see the waves got a little bigger. And then if the gain is not enough, I'm gonna make it a little louder. So what I do from here on is I cut this part here so that it's not, great thing would be to unlink again for a second, unlink. So now I can eliminate all these noises here, all these waves. The podcast is not edited too much. We just do this stuff. I'm gonna show you also what else could be done. So as you see, it's nothing so exciting. You just delete this stuff. For the guest audio, it's not that bad, but I can do it for the guest audio too. So you just delete. It takes a little bit. So if you have any questions, now would be the best for you to drop me the questions in the chat. Yes, so as I said, if you have no skills into Premiere Pro, you can just go into Udemy or Domestika or Skillshare or whatever platform you like. If you find a cool class and just do the class for video editing, and you can go from zero to hero quite quickly. Here it has to be always deep attention to not cutting off too much of the audio so that some sentences are not broken up. For this little thing I don't need it. Here I can just do like this and go fuck off. I think in the end we can try to see. I guess once you cut off the audio, the levelation will work in a different way, because what the program does is takes all the wavelengths and heights and things like that and sort of harmonizing them. But yeah, if you remove the lower waves, it will harmonize them in a better way. So this is how it works here. And this is a great thing later on, I'll show you, because this is the great, having these waves on separate audio tracks, it's super useful for making the captions, like the, what is it called, the timestamps for YouTube later. Because I do, in YouTube, if you go to one of our podcasts, I'm gonna show you quickly. You go to YouTube. Yes, leave. We don't need this anymore. If you go into any one of our videos, it's gonna be like this. So we're in the live. I'm gonna mute the audio of the computer for a second so that we don't have we don't get any strikes. Anyways, if you go here, I'm gonna pause it. That's great. You see you have these chapters here. If you go, you'll see what is the topic of this time frame. So how to win architecture competition in Germany. So having like to do this, you have to go into the description of the video and write down the minutes. And having those waves, it's super helpful. So let's go ahead with our work. So this is how we do it. As you see, it's nothing super fancy, but it's a work that has to be done by someone, and that someone, it's me. I'm the video editor of TCI Podcast. So this is how we roll here. We're almost through the whole thing, and we are more or less, almost halfway through. So, and this is also extremely helpful for the intro of the podcast. Lately, I got inspired by Lex Friedman. So the podcast starts with like a little bit of a preview of the conversation, and so that it kind of works as a hook for the people tuning into the podcast. And then there is a little bit of intro video, talking head from me. Talking head is when you do a video, or like this one, where I just look at the camera and speak to the camera. So when there are these spikes, you have to be careful, because probably I was laughing or saying something. So I might appear for a second in that frame. So if there is no audio for the final video, it would be weird. Yeah, so this is how it works. We're almost gone through. See here, there is a little bit of a spike again. And plop. We delete this stuff. We delete this stuff. I'm so sorry it takes so long, but the podcast with Timo was quite long. I'm gonna save. I just saved. Remember to press Ctrl S to save the file, because sometimes the program crashes. Usually there is a safety backup, but it's not always great. So this is how we do it. Later on, I'm going to show you also how we do the clips, the reels, everything for the podcast that you need to know, so that so that you do great podcast like TCI. Hope you like the podcast. If you're not subscribed yet, remember to subscribe and to join the Patreon group if you are not in the Patreon group, because the cool kids are in the Patreon group. And as you see, these things takes a lot of work, so it's important to be helpful for the project. And if you want to have a cool design podcast that keeps growing, keeps getting you those cool guests like Björk Ingels group people, Tricks and people, and whatever other office you wish, we can figure it out. It's important for you, for me, for everyone, that you go into that Patreon page and subscribe. You're finding the link in the description. So we are almost done. I'm not going to do this stuff for the other track because it would be too much. It would have been more efficient to do it together, but it's too much of a hassle. So later on, I'm going to show you how we can fix the audio levels despite this thing. So I think we are done. Yes. So we won't have that weird echo effect, the reverb effect. So now I'm going to do a little bit of a test and show you. So if I'm in here, I do solo, and you see here the decibels. They should be something in between 6 and 12.
Hello,
so let's
Timo.
see. 6 and 12.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah,
You are a LinkedIn grasshopper hero to me. But you can introduce yourself in the way you prefer mostly.
So my level is good. Let's see Timo's level.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the invite to be on here. So to introduce myself,
It's a little lower.
A structural engineer.
It's a little lower, but the problem is with this weird, what is it called? With this, let me move the camera so that I can see better the screen. My desk is a little small for these purposes. Just a second. I have a quite easy to move screen. Let's see. Okay. So you have some options here to repair the audio. So we have loudness, repair. So reduce noise. Let's see how it works after we press reduce noise.
By trade, it's my education I came out of as a structural engineer.
See, we go reduce
then
noise.
during my
it's a little
studies
better.
that I finished about 6 years ago.
But he's not so loud anymore, so I have to go a little bit lower on this thing.
I
Reduce reverb. Let's see.
got a huge interest in computational design, which I took as a specialization on top of my structural engineering degree.
Yes. So now it's better, and now I have to go into clip volume and add a little bit of couple of decibels.
And then I started my career in Georgi English Group.
Yeah.
Went on
and
to Rampen.
see, with just a
And now
super
I am
few clicks,
working for myself.
the podcast sounds super nice now. So this is the whole conversation. We have this shit. It's 1 hour and 30. So now we need to pick up the 5 to 6, what I'm saying, like 30 seconds of a conversation where I want to do the intro, where I want to like show something cool for the audience when it's starting. So let's see.
Optimization. I mean, if you can expand more on what exactly
Yes,
you
so-
solve.
I would say that 90% of the time where
So I remember we talked about how Timo wanted to become independent because he wanted to spend more time with his family. So I think this is somewhere further on in the conversation. So I want to put that part of the conversation at the
it's
beginning.
funny that you say it, because I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running.
So this is also a good part.
But what started this thing is, I guess, been desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever. I have to start my own thing. And when I left Big, I was also getting to the point where I was thinking, should I start my own thing now? But I didn't feel ready at all. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Like who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. Like how would I sell this service to anyone?
This is a great part. So I like this part because he's telling about his struggle. The audience might be very relatable to this part of the podcast. So I want to finish it here.
Like I'm not going to be employed forever. I have to. But for years, I knew that. Like for years.
Okay, so he starts here by saying for a year he knew he won't be employed forever. So now there are two options to do this. I can do Control C, copy it, go back, paste it, and there we go. We have exactly 30 seconds of great Timo telling me how he wanted to become a freelancer. So we have the 30 seconds, initial 30 seconds. So what we'll have now, I'm gonna move this a little bit away from, so we have this function here which selects all the tracks after this point. This is a great tool. I move all this stuff a little bit away from this part. We're gonna bring it back later. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do the intro. So I go again to my projects, files, turn off the audio for a second. And I get this other thing here is from the camera directly. And this is my intro. So this is my intro. And as you can see, the audio, it's sucky again. I can show you. See how sucky the audio is? And I took a couple of takes.
23. My guess was
so this audio sucks. And this is why why I clapped my hands. I clapped my hands to generate these super high waves that will be very easy to manually synchronize with the audio. So I have intro here. And this time I'm going to take the stereo mix, which is the Rodecaster automatically mixes the tracks and levelates them. So now you see that I have these super nice pitches of my audio, and you can just move the waves. Like if you press Alt and the arrows, you can move the track. As I'm showing you now, I'm gonna move it like this, and you see it's probably perfect. Now it's perfect. Yeah, like this looks good. I go solo this track. I'm gonna go where actually I recorded my stuff, which is here. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Creative Insider podcast episode. Yeah, sounds much better. I can do again dialogue, loudness, auto match. And now I'm gonna do unlink, remove the shitty audio, cut all this stuff here, remove this. It's important, or at least it's easier if you place them in the same length. So I'm gonna remove all this part here too. Boom. Select, link, and ta-da, the intro is done. So what I do is now I squeeze the intro together. This is a little bit too much of a break. I put these things together, maybe even a little less. This should be also linked. We do this and this, put them together. And now I go to effects and I go to look for this effect called dip to black. You see what it's a transition, basically. It's a video transition. You squeeze it in here, and now you see that when Timo says this goes black, you saw it, like goes black, and I start talking.
Hello, everyone.
But maybe I did a mistake, so we're gonna remove it. We're gonna do a little bit more of the break. We're gonna go a little bit longer on the break of Timo. We're gonna delete this. I'm gonna go back, put it here, and I can extend this effect for a couple of seconds. I think if you press shift, you can extend it more on the other side. So now it's gonna be like,
Hello, everyone.
didn't render it completely well.
21.
So, see, it was a nice dip to black transition. So what I do on the other side here, I'm gonna press save. So what I want to do is that I want to show to the people who are listening that this is just a preview of the conversation with Timo, and it's not like they have to wait for the real conversation to start. So what I do is I go here to text, and I write in this episode. So this is too big. You go to Essential Graphics. I don't like this font. For this stuff, I always use the Bebas Neue, which is a free font you can find on, I think, Google Fonts. Bebas Neue. So you take this Bebas Neue in this episode of TCI Podcast. ... And this is how they know that something is coming. And this is a nice relatable part of the show. So you make this here, you can make it smaller. Now it's 200. I'm gonna make it this thing that time. And what I do is I use a background. I use a nice background. I use something like a purple color that's similar to what we have in TCI Podcast. I can copy this code for later. Here it's slightly transparent. I go to full blast. This is sort of an offset. I make it a little offsetty, and I do rounded corners. And then I extend it to this point. Pam. Now you have in this episode of TCI Podcast. And you remember we used like the dip to black effect here. So if I go now, it's gonna look weird because the title is not going dip to black. So I have to place a dip to black on the title. Oops. And go and put the dip to black. Okay, I don't think you can do it so precisely. Yes, you can. And now, boom, goes together. So this is how we do the first transition. And another thing that the Patreons of this podcast gets to do is that they get a shout out in every single podcast episode. So I'm not going to do this from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to home and go to one of my latest podcasts, for example, this one with Holger Maya. This is because a video it's missing. No, he found the video. So this is my full podcast with Holger Maya. And I'm going to take some elements from this. For example, this I'm going to take. Just you select it and go Control C. And I go back to my thing here. And I will place it right here. So now we have, so if you see here, now we have thanks to our Patreon. And if you want to have your name on here, you want to be a cool kid, just go into the link below. So this is, and I'll take some other elements from the other project. Very important element, it's gonna be this one. This is a subscribe button. So we're gonna just place it here to be sure that's in the right tracks. Yes, it is. And then I'm gonna show you later how exactly to place this thing. And these things are popping up into here somewhere. So you see MP4 and Alpha Mask is this thing. And then we have nested, which is final motion and intro. So this is how it works. And one thing that I have to get from the other podcast is the outro animation, this thing here. When I finish the podcast, it goes bloop. Thanks for watching. Now it's not showing it so seamlessly because it has this red bar here on the top, because it's a motion graphic. I take it from the last project because I have gone into the Lumetric, not in the Lumetric, in the graphic edit of this thing, which is now nested, and I've changed the colors in this violet, which is the violet of the TCI podcast. So I again Control C, go into the other podcast, go at the end of it, and paste it there, and poof. So now we are kind of there. This is 5 seconds. 5 seconds, it's enough. I think we can go it longer. If there were more names, we're gonna keep it a little longer so that you can read the names of who are the Patreons. And this thing you saw here. So before it's this thing coming, we start, I invite you to and say to click the link, subscribe link below and join the Patreon. So I'm gonna, if you cannot, you can support the podcast for free by just liking the video, commenting below, sharing on your social media, and of course, so here, somewhere here, I say subscribe to the podcast. We're subscribing to the channel. So I generated this animation on some website that, I don't know, if you Google generate personalized subscribe for your channel, there's this website that will generate for you this alpha mask and template. So if I go into the, this is now grouped. So I should double click probably. Anyways, you can use the alpha mask or subscribing to the channel to create this stuff. So thank you very much for your support. Thank you. So this is how I position this. One thing, I'm gonna go here. Now we have the, we have to go to edit. So I'm gonna go to save Holga Maya full episode. And here you have file, close project. And now I have closed the Holga Maya project, so I cannot have any problems of, how do you say, like, I won't have any problems by misunderstanding which projects I'm working in. So I have only this project. So I have to go again to effects, deep to black, position the deep to black here. And again, with the shift, I do the transition as it's supposed to be. Again, this is too much transition. It needs to be shorter, it needs to be more dynamic. Yep. For a second, I thought I did something wrong. Everything is good. So we go again. Deep to black. Shift. See if you shift and you nicely put it on the same level as the other one. It goes per frame, so of course you can do it quite precisely. And here you go like this. Boom. And now we can see how the transition is working. Boom, thanks to our Patreons. See, 5 seconds.
Hello, Timo. Welcome to the podcast. You are a LinkedIn
So I'm gonna delete this audio
grasshopper hero to me. but
because it's just
you can introduce
interfering.
yourself in the way you prefer mostly.
So one thing that I do in the beginning of every podcast is to have these graphic elements that shows who is speaking, who is talking. So I'm gonna do you go to Essential Graphic, browse, I have this start one, and I have these are like, you see, this is our end animation, and these are the lower thirds. So what I would do here is place this thing. I don't copy it from other podcasts because it's always...
First of all, thanks for the
So
invite.
here, this is how it works. Timo Zollner. Control Z, Control Z. Computational designer. So I'm gonna do freelance computational designer. So this is the animation, but it's a little bit big.
First of all, thanks for the invite to be on.
So I select this whole thing and I tell him, do the scale smaller, like this. And I say, position it something like this, maybe a little bit here, so that you can read this freelance computational designer a little better. So let's see how it looks like now.
Thanks for the invite to be on here. So to introduce myself, I am a structural...
Boom. Done. Now with holding Alt, you can copy this whole thing, and I'll put it on my name, my
LinkedIn,
area, and I go Georgi Lishtarsky, architect and host of TCI Podcast. There we go.
grasshopper hero to me. But you can introduce yourself in the way you prefer mostly.
So one thing that I want to have in the beginning of the podcast is that everything goes a little bit more dynamic. So I will shorten these breaks in between me and him, so that people don't get too bored. So for example, here you can see
myself.
If you zoom in, you see we have these several seconds of nothingness. And this is because, unfortunately, when you record a podcast online, there will be some sort of lagging, no matter what you do.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we don't have the budget to fly over the guests. So again, if you want to improve the quality of the lagging and have live shows, feel free to join the Patreon group. So this is how we do this and this. And this is for the few minutes. We have to go up here, select this whole part, delete it. And here too. I mean, I could do this for the whole podcast, but it's gonna take a long time. So I'm not gonna do it for sure for this one podcast, so that you don't get bored by me repeating again and again and again the same operation. But as you can see here, the break was way longer. So I can work a little bit more. Plum, And
I understand. And what is the exact difference? Like if it were pure engineering or
yes,
architecture engineering, so you do something a little bit more oriented also towards architectural
This is
design,
the
not
fifth
only structural design.
So yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
We can delete this whole part here. Because in the beginning, it's very important that it's dynamic for the people listening to this stuff. So no.
Yes, we had during this education, I would say it's probably 80%.
Yes, we're gonna do it for just here, and then we are good to go. These are all precious seconds that will get the people in the flow of the podcast. So for the future, I might be doing this for the whole podcast so that you guys enjoy shorter breaks in between the switching of the speaker. So yeah, this is how we get the full podcast. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to export. So this is one thing that I didn't do here is important thing is to, so this it's part of footage. If you move this here, it's going to get out of footage and you should rename it to full podcast with Timo. So this is how we do it. And after that, I'm going to show you how to do the thumbnails. It's very important. So we are almost 1 hour into editing. So see, in 1 hour, we edited the whole podcast. You're into your sequence. You press Control M. So this is my podcast. Here, wrong folder. Go to full episodes, podcast Timo. Save folder. Here, preset YouTube full HD video match sequence. Here you see the size of the file. Let me check again. This is this computer. We have 23 gigs only. What the fuck? This is not good. Let me check videos. Oh yeah, because I'm recording this whole session. YouTube, full episodes, Holga Maya. I'm gonna delete this for now. Delete everywhere. Gonna delete it here. Delete everywhere. Recycle bin. Empty recycle bin. Yes. So this is how we do it. Let's see. Now we have 30 gigs. That's good. Although it won't be very good for... So yeah, anyways, these are the... I'm gonna select my external hard drive, but probably it's gonna take a little longer to export, save, and then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna send to media encoder. So you can send this whole thing to this other Adobe program called media encoder, and you can export from a media encoder while continuing working on your sequences in the current file. So here you see ready. It has where it's gonna go. I press play, and this thing it's starting to export. It will take a little longer, but it's still quite okay because the whole footage, the whole thing, it's 11 gigs because it's 1.5 conversation, 30 frames per second, and so on and so forth. So it takes a little bit of gigs. So I'm gonna leave it exporting, and now we're gonna start with the thumbnail. So let's go into Photoshop. So we open Photoshop, and I'm gonna explain to you later how this thing works. So I'm gonna go into LinkedIn. So what I need for blah blah blah. Did it open Photoshop? It's opening. I'm gonna close Illustrator because we don't need it now. You saw how we did the whole thing. So here you see, for example, I have other thumbnails that are all on the cloud. So I'm gonna go with new file, and I have this custom, which is my preferred size for thumbnails, which is the perfect size for thumbnails. And I'm gonna call it thumbnail podcast Timo. And I create it, and I have this blank thing. And one important thing is to go back to my folder of the podcast where I had another folder. Let me show you. So if I go to YouTube and I go to full episodes and I go to Timo, there is this folder called pictures, and here I have pictures of Timo. So for example, this one looks a good one. I'm gonna take this one because the other one is too zoomed in. So I'm just gonna place it there, and I'm gonna make it bigger. And I like this thing here. So if I use this picture, I'm gonna use it in this format. Like this. This looks pretty good. The problem is he gave me a picture where he's in this table, so it's a little complicated. So now I can do select subject. And it will take a little longer, blah, 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 image processing. Probably it's also because I'm exporting this shit in the background and it takes a little bit. So my computer is a little overwhelmed, but it selected the subject perfectly. Great work by Photoshop. And we go with a mask. Okay, didn't do a great job. Yeah, so sometimes you have to add a little bit to the mask. So I'm gonna go with you can. So you go into the mask, go with the brush, black, pum. I mean, it doesn't have to be so perfect because it's gonna be a big image. Nobody's gonna zoom that much in. Here we have some weird shit. Here you can just do all of this stuff together. As you see, the picture is also not in perfect quality because I had to make it a little bigger. So we go into the mask. Again, black brush, plop, plop, plop. It's done. And it is perfect. So here we have Timo. Now we need a background. So you have to imagine you're gonna watch this on a small phone, most likely, or even on a computer. You won't see that many details. For example, we can use solid color. Here you go to solid color. You use this blue to see also how it looks like on a color background. It looks quite good. We can go into the internet, World Wide Web, look for Timo, go into his LinkedIn and see if he has some nice post. This is his experiences, show activity, posts. Let's see if he has some nice image, blah, blah, blah. He has a video here. So for example, we can take this grasshopper thing. So I can save the image and I can be like, go to videos, YouTube, full episodes, podcast with Timo. Nope, not footage, images, pictures. I use this folder for saving one of the newsletter pictures. Anyways, we can save this image, or we can go for in the internet and look for grasshopper images, go for parametric design, because usually what you get, it's this shit, grasshopper, and you'll see there are most of the stuff are like some algorithms or things like that. Other websites that I use are Pexels, Pixabay. Go to photo, parametric design. Oh, look for music or whatever. Computational design, let's see. Okay, didn't find anything. Parametric architecture. Nothing. So, again, this might be shit. So I'm gonna go to images. We save that image. Poof. See, not that bad. Let's see if it's gonna look too bad if we extend this and we do it like this. Boom. Actually, it looks kind of nice. It's like, oops. It's not that bad. Maybe what we can do is go here and make it even, no. Doesn't look that great if we do that. We're gonna go backwards. This was a good one. So this is it. We can go to the picture of Timo, and now that we have the background, make it a little bigger. Man, like this, like this. Boom. So it, you see, so now we can do this thing. We can change the, so not what we can do is use some adjustment and go to the auto adjustments, like curves. It doesn't seem it makes a lot. So what we can do is put it onto the Timo's picture and go for auto. No, really doesn't want to change much. It likes it like it is. What I usually like to do is I go into these adjustments. Let's see if it's exposure. Yeah, exposure. I like to go, and this is going to be for everything. And we can do a little bit more exposure, offset like this, gamma correction. Another adjustment that I like to do is here, vibrance, and I would go to vibrance a little lower. What vibrance does in different than saturation is that it reduces more the saturation of the more like colors that are more like, I don't know, saturated. So this white won't get that desaturated compared to, I don't know, Timo's hair. And now we need a title. I'm gonna go with the title. We're gonna go not vertical title, horizontal. Yes, horizontal one. My what is it called? Photoshop. It's preset that does this. We have to have a catchy title going solo in computational design. So this might be the title. We're gonna go into the paragraph. Paragraph should be like this. So what we want is that this title, it's readable. So maybe we should try with another option. So I'm removing the underline. I'm gonna go with white. With white you see it even less. I'm gonna make it a little smaller. So we need some color that pops, or some color that, or maybe it has a background. So I can change also one font that I really like. It's Articulate. Articulate, what I like, it's heavy oblique. And now I have to go again into the text and make it going solo in computational design. So this may be, no, the other one was better. So we're going back. One thing that I like to do is put this below the layer of Timo, so that there is this nice game of 3D, you know, that the computation goes a little bit behind the hand of Timo, and I can do it like this. And one option that we can play now, it's with the effects. So for example, we can try to drop shadow, but not this kind of shadow. Can be opacity, blah, 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 angle, the other way for sure. But in this case doesn't work that well, so I'm gonna cancel the drop shadow. Another option is to go with a stroke, smaller and outside, but it doesn't look that great either. So now I'm going to show you why I used that underline stuff before. So we're going to duplicate this layer. And we're going to go back into this, do the underline, and we're going to change the color to black. And what we're going to do is convert to, let's see what it is. So we have this thing selected, and now we have to, not to smart object. Where is it? Convert to shape, I think it is. Yep. So now we get this white arrow, and we select all this shit, and we delete it. And we take this thing and we put it up. We put this thing a little bit upper too. And we go a little bit like this and a little bit like this. And we're good to go. And then we select these other letters. We don't need. We select these other letters. We don't need. Delete them. And Pam. A little bit of a smaller distance here. Oops. You have to press shift so that the things go orthogonal, so to say. Tank. You go with this thing. We'll go a little upper here. Do this and this. And now we have a perfect background going solo in computational design. We can group them. Pam. Now we can go Control T and move this a little bit lower. And now we can do here another title. We go now into, we don't go into Bebas, we go into Articulate, heavy oblique. We make this much smaller and we write with Timo Harbo Solnar. Oh, see, this is why I have all these typos. Solnar, and this width is gonna be rather regular oblique. And this one can be maybe color black. Let's see how it, so now we have it selected. We go to color black with Timo Harbo Solnar. Maybe what you can do is now go into the solid color layer, select some sort of a gray, put this gray beneath this thing and tell this thing to whether multiply or overlay soft light, so that it's a little bit more turned off in the background. Yeah, so this is nice. Timo pops up quite a bit. This, it's kind of minimalist. And then we can take, oh fuck, duplicated. Then I get this thing, we move it up and we go 123 and we go to here and we tell him that it's gonna be heavy oblique. Pam, go back into text. We have this text too big, make it smaller, transform it. Bam. Big thing to do. Or maybe we do it this one. Now we can try to change it to white. Let's see if it's gonna be white, if it's gonna be better. Yeah, it's not bad. And let's see if this is not bad. I like it white. And this, if it goes white, it's not either bad and not bad. We can go like something greeny because it's about grasshopper. So we have to go something that it's really turned on. Let's go direction whitish. You see something like this. A little bit more green. I understand. So you have to be careful because it's under vibrance. And if you put it above vibrance, it's going to be a little bit desaturated. Okay, there is still something wrong. Let's see if it's this thing. It looks a little desaturated. I don't know why. Let's try with this shit here. Yes, it is indeed desaturated. We have to understand why. So this thing is still beneath this stuff. Maybe I pressed. Oops. Oh yeah, I was into cyan. So when it's desaturated, whether it's under a filter or it's under like the other color mode. So for example, we can use this green because it's a grasshopper green, and it's kind of cool, and it's gonna kind of pop up. So we can go this and make it a little bigger. A little closer. Tack. Pom. And go here and select the color of this one. And there you go. And now we have the thumbnail. This is how we do the thumbnail. Tell me if you like the thumbnail like it is now. Maybe you don't like it as much as I do, but I think it's kind of cool. The cool stuff is that, for example, because we have all this stuff here, we can say that this has to... This is now an object. So if we select it, we should be able to change the color too. So I think if we go here and do pom, I selected totally the wrong color. There you go. Maybe this is better. Yeah, this is like all grasshoppery. So maybe we're gonna keep it like this with the green stuff, so it also pops up nicely on YouTube. So yes, this is how we did it. And we now press save. And one thing that it's great with Adobe is that you can save it to the cloud. So I'm gonna save it to the cloud. And another thing I'm gonna do is now export it. So I'm gonna go to export. Save for web, because the file needs to be quite small. And I'm gonna go save, and then it's gonna ask me where to save it. This was the last time I did some YouTube stuff. So I'm gonna go into podcast with Timo, thumbnail podcast Timo. I'm just gonna save it, and we got it. This is how we do the crazy stuff. So this is how we did the podcast with Timo. This is the thumbnail. Now I'm gonna show you how you can distribute your podcast. So so let's see at what point my podcast is exported. There are 5 minutes remaining, but I'm gonna show you quickly Anchor. This is not anymore called Anchor. It's called Podcaster, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But if you go on Anchor, it is basically the platform that distributes the podcast. I'm going to start with this one because maybe it's not that obvious as much as YouTube. Here you have this is recently has changed. Before it was Anchor. So for example, these are my Spotify analytics. If I go to analytics, I have audience size in the last 7 days. I have audience here. For example, it shows me where the people are from the last 30 days. If I go to all time, most of the people listening are from the US, from Bulgaria, from Italy, from the United Kingdom, from Denmark, Germany. Here we have gender, we have age. This is all good stuff for a media deck. If you want me to show you how I'm going to do the media deck of the podcast, let me know in the comments. Episodes, blah, blah, blah. So what is relevant for us is a new episode. And here you have quick. So first of all, to go back, this whole thing is free. If you go to home, I can show you profile page, blah, blah, blah. This is my profile page. So this is available. This distributes my podcast on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Pocket Casts, on Radio Public, on Spotify, and it has like the RSS that you can embed in other websites. So you can do your account for free, and this is going to distribute your podcast everywhere. When I started the podcast, we had Podbean for a little bit because back in the days, it wasn't so obvious to have a free platform that distributes all this thing for free. And here, if you go to new episode, you can create an audio episode. But if you go to quick upload, also you can upload directly a video episode. And this is why you can watch the video podcast on Spotify. If I go to YouTube, not Z, I have the German keyboard is slightly different. Here we don't have this. We don't need this anymore. We have some here. Also, you can connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. Very happy to connect with you guys, to network, to support each other. So this is how YouTube looks like. If you go to YouTube Studio, it's where you upload the videos. I'm gonna wait a few seconds that this thing is over. Oh, so we have 1,020 subscribers. Here, if you go to here, upload videos, it's where you're gonna upload the video. I'm gonna wait for a few seconds to be finished. And I'm gonna show you how to do, but for example, we can start by showing you how I do the clips. So, the clips. So, for example, I know that this part, it's a very interesting part because it's where we talk about why Timo turned to be independent. And was it a client that you have had suddenly, or was it always a thing that you wanted? I think people have to be focused on constantly getting out there and learning something new, because otherwise you get outdated. And I'm curious, I mean, I kind of now understand how might have come to. So this is where this is where I want to start this clip. So this is going to be, I'm curious. And it's gonna go for sure. See, now this shows you why it's so cool to have these waves. So here
to go my own ways.
So he says going my own ways. This is at minute 53. This is at minute 57. This would be a clip that it's 4 minutes. More or less, a little shorter than 4 minutes. This is a little bit too short for a clip. 43, and this 53, and this is 57, a little over 4 minutes. So let's say what I say afterwards.
It's never the right moment. I think we have natural this like internal voice to tell us, now there is this problem. Or
so this makes more sense to speak about. Let's see what is my next question.
In the process when you were thinking about it, there were some people that were asking you to like help them somehow and try to get a client on, or in the process when you were thinking about it, there were some people that were asking.
So I'm asking him. So I'm asking him how he got his first client. So this still made cool.
I'm very surprised about what kind of businesses I have been getting involved with now.
Can you say something about it? Like, listen, what kind of fields? And also, I was one of the people that reached out to you because I thought, okay, this is so cool. Maybe I won't be a client, but I want to, spotlight you so that if somebody listens to this, can be your client. And I think it's
so. This is, I think, until here it's relevant.
I think that probably answers the question.
No, yes, indeed.
To be product companies that are the most hungry for these kind of services.
Yeah, so here, I think we covered this whole topic until here. So now we have 53. It's more or less like a 10 minutes clip, which is a legit length for a clip of the podcast, where we talk about a topic that, in my opinion, is interesting. I don't know. Maybe so for someone else, not interesting. So I select all this stuff here, and I go into this option, and I say nest, and I say Timo going solo nested. Pam. And this goes into this folder called nested, because this is where I have these nests. What these nest things do, I'm going to press save. You see this whole thing turned now green. This created sort of a connection to my main edit where I have all these tracks and stuff that I can still re-edit. But if I edit them here and I add stuff here, it's going to be added to the main podcast. So what I do is I nest them, but then I do another bin called clips. And here I'm going to do a new sequence. And this sequence, it's going to be based on digital SLR, 1080p, 30 frames per second. And the sequence is going to be called Timo going solo. And I'm going to start with clip so that I know that it's a clip. And now I have this new sequence. So I'm going to close the nested. And now I can take the nested part of this thing and keep existing settings. So now I'm going to see again, I don't see the audio. So I'm going to go render audio. Pam, para, pam. It's going to take a while as usual. Maybe because we're still exporting this stuff, how much it's taking. And I'm curious, I mean, I kind of now understand how might have come to this decision, but how it was, what was the motivation for you after I don't know, for
a career, let's say, in a more...
This thing was paused. Let's hope it finishes now. Maybe it will finish. Let's hope. So anyways, we have our clip here. Now it's nested. Now it's here. It's now when I edit it here, it's not going to edit everywhere else. And in this part, what is great is that I can go now to nested, and I can go and add my final motion. So this clip is going to finish like this again.
Right?
Yes. So this is another thing that I can use
is from my main podcast. I can take you remember the subscribe button. I can go for the subscribe button, copy it, go into my clip. I always paste it here in the end so that it doesn't mess up with other things, and put it somewhere where I think it's cool. So let's see.
It's funny that you say it, because I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of.
So yes, so we have this stuff to remind you that you should subscribe. So now we have to do a thumbnail for this clip. To get a thumbnail done for this clip, we need an image of me and an image of Timo. Let's see which frame it's gonna be cool. We need like something that it's a cool face, like a serious face, or this can do the job maybe, or maybe not. Let's see. Okay, so this is, for example, a cool frame for Timo, because he's kind of like surprised. Let's see. Okay, this is better. What you can do now is exporting the frame. I'm gonna go into new folder. This is the correct folder. And I'm gonna go Timo catchy face. I don't do anything fancy in the titles here. I just do something that can remind me of what he was saying. So now I have to move somewhere where I am. We need a face of me. But I'm not so much into the clip. I'm probably here. This is kind of a surprise face. Oh, moved totally into the wrong thing. So this is maybe... Let's see. No. The problem is also that my microphone is too much into my face, so you cannot see my facial expression. Yeah, serious. Let's see. I'm gonna write Georgi, serious. 10. So we have 2 frames. Now what we need, it's a picture for this. So freelancer. We write freelancer, we go to images, blah, blah, blah. Now it's a good time to go to pixels and go to freelancer. Yeah, there we go. Freelancer. Let's go to freelance. So let's go to, this was pixels. It's the same. So we need Pixabay. In Pixabay, I take the musics here for example, videos, but I go here into freelance. There are similar images. So this one I like. We're gonna download it in this size. Seems okay. So now we're gonna go back into the Photoshop, and I'm gonna go into home. And for the clips, I have this file which is called clips thumbnail, because I don't want to create a new file for every single thumbnail I do. So what I'm gonna do here now is select all this. So I don't need this for sure. I'm gonna delete a couple of images. I'm gonna delete this one. And I'm gonna delete this one. Gonna turn off this one for now. So I need to go into my folder. Oh my god. I'm gonna stop recording this live because it's gonna be too big for my computer. As you see the files here, it's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. So see, this is how big is this thing, and I don't know. It's just 2 gigabytes. I don't know what is going on with my computer's memory. It's always going down. So I go into YouTube, full episodes, and here I have this new folder, which is kind of messy, but it's where I am. So I have Georgi series, and I'm gonna drop the Georgi series here. And I'm gonna go with transform. I'm gonna move the series Georgi here. I'm gonna make the series Georgi bigger. Pam. And I'm gonna flip him horizontally. No, that wouldn't work because it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna go with a mask. Pam, delete this image. And then I need the other image of Timo catchy face. And we're gonna make the Timo catchy face also bigger. Pam. There you go. And now we need our image, which is in the downloads folder most likely. Yep. And this goes in front of both of us. And we're gonna scale it. If you press shift while scaling, it's gonna scale from yeah, you know what I mean. So what I'm gonna do now is select here, invert my selection, delete. Okay, I have to rasterize the level. Rasterize layer, bam, and now we can make this smaller. So as you see, it's still too big. Sorry, if you press Alt, it like scales to the center. Oops, see, I stopped holding it. So now we have this nice image of the thing. And now we go into Effect, Stroke. And unfortunately, we deleted the fucking stroke from the last one. But it's outside, and we make it thicker. And we make outer glow, inner glow. Yeah, inner glow, it's not outer glow. We need this color. Fuck. Oops. So we go stroke again, color, this color, greener color for sure. Then I copy this color. I'm gonna say size, you make it bigger. Let's see what happens if I go center. Doesn't matter, but center is good. Then we go outer glow, paste the color here, hard light. Now it's glowing a little more. Make the size a little bigger. Then we go inner glow.
Paste the color there too. Make the size way smaller. Make it soft light. Bam. Yep. And there we have the thumbnail. Pam para pam. Again. Sorry. Export it. Say for web. Save. Now we can export this clip into the thumbnails the folder. So clips thumbnail. Timo. Oops, I have changed the Timo going solo. I don't think you can have a slash in your file name. Save. Now we have the thing here. This PC. This stopped shrinking luckily. Let's see. I don't understand why this thing it's taking so much. Okay. So now we go to Premiere Pro. We have our clip ready. Again, we go to M. And we're gonna go and export it. Timo going solo. Quality, video, match source. This is gonna be a way smaller file. The file size is just gig something. And now we're gonna export. No, send to media encoder. Yes, so now we're sending to media encoder. And media encoder. So I guess it's still encoding the other thing. I don't know. Maybe because it's on an external hard drive, it's taking longer. Let's see what is the status of this thing. Footage. Yeah, see, it's not going yet, not working for whatever reason. I don't know, guys. But you can export it on your own computer for sure. So I'm going to show you how to do a video short. So I'm going to do a new bin. And this one is going to be called Shorts. I'm going to go it again. So if we go into our nested, so for example, what I like about this file here is that so that you can get some income.
It's funny that you say it because I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running.
So I think I want to create a short of this time because it's kind of motivating, no? That he's saying this stuff that he likes to work alone. So, and that's true. So I'm going to vertical YouTube shop. I've saved this preset. If you don't have the preset, you can take, for example, this or this, go into settings and invert these numbers to 90/20 and call the sequence Timo going solo short. And we have this thing. So what is happening in the latest Premiere Pro? What we can see is that Adobe has created, if you go into Window, Workspaces, there is this option. This is my favorite, Georgi, but if you go into Vertical,
Pam, you can have this view where you can see your vertical view. So yeah, so you can go into again the nested things, and Timo going solo nested, keep existing settings. So you after okay, for some reason, yes, it started. So now you see that we have this, we're not fully into the frame. So what we're gonna do, it's pump it up. And then we have to be way shorter than what we're now. So we're gonna adapt this to Timo in the center. And
it's funny that you say it.
So I'm gonna cut this part here because we don't want that part. And this is a great example where I have put something nested here. But if you go into the nested going solo, it's still full. It's not changed. So this is why I like to create a nest and then and once the nest is done, I add it here.
It's funny that you say it because I've done a lot of work.
So we don't need the first part. The thing with shorts is that you have to, really sum up everything to very short, quick sentences. Let's see here. This thing, it doesn't work at all. So I'm gonna stop it. Probably doesn't work. Yes, I guess it didn't work because it's... No. Okay. Let's go back to Premiere Pro. So the thing is, you can do one thing. You know that the maximum length of a short, it's 1 minute. So you can go here and insert 1 minute. And press M, and you're gonna have this timestamp for 1 minute. So this is gonna be your maximum length of your short, but the short should be, YouTube says 5 seconds, 15 seconds. The shorter it is, the more viral it could get. So you have to select a piece of your video that makes sense. So
I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running. But what started?
So he says he makes a lot of breaks, and these breaks are not good, so we have to delete them. That was an
thing up and running. But what started this thing is, I guess, the desire that has been.
So here again, a big plum. You have to really remove all these pauses because this is a long break. And you have to listen in between. What does he say?
I've been so motivated to get my own thing.
So
I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get.
So this also can be removed completely with this bin. Let's see how it works now.
Single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running. But what started this thing is, I guess, the desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that I'm not going to be employed forever.
So this break we remove this whole break in here. Pam. I mean, this is a way too long clip, So we're gonna remove all the concepts.
Not going to be employed forever. I have to start my own thing. And when I left Big, I was also getting to the point where I was thinking, should I start my own thing now? But I didn't feel ready at all. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Like who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. Like how would I sell this service to anyone? And I also didn't have, I will say now, I didn't have enough experience at that point either. Like I had 3.5 years, but I needed more for myself to be ready than just that. But that was also part of, we can say, my secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. And then I started getting like a person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. And then that kept going, like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. But at the same time, I was really happy. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I had gotten a lot of freedom to actually do what I want. I think the position I had would be a dream position for myself and for other people as well. So it's like, okay, it's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then suddenly a recession started to look like a possibility.
So this part here, like
bucks.
Here we had some.
But at the same time, I was really happy. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I had gotten a lot of freedom to actually do what I want. I think the position I had would be a dream. So it's like, okay, it's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then suddenly a recession started to look like a possibility. So I remember sitting in at the end of November last year, I was like, I'm doing this. I definitely want to do this. And then came December along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this like voice saying to me, like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it.
So I think this is the thing. The concept where he says like about his need to start a business. So let's see what he says afterwards.
So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I couldn't enjoy my work fully. I kept looking for, hey, is this I kept looking for possibilities for myself rather than for my position.
So we need to use a little bit more of this clip.
So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I couldn't enjoy my work fully. I kept looking for, hey, is this I kept looking.
Yeah.
Enjoy my work fully.
So we're gonna finish it here. We're gonna delete this part. We're gonna do like this. Bam. So now we have a little bit of a too long of a clip, so we have to delete some stuff.
I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running. But what started this thing is, I guess, been desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever.
Okay. So he says, I'm not going to be employed forever. This is, I like it.
I have to start my own thing. And when I left Big, I was also getting to the point where I was thinking,
so this part where he says about Big, it's not relevant to the whole clip.
I have no idea how to sell computational design. Like who will buy it? I don't even know But I didn't feel ready at all. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Like who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. Like how would I sell this service to anyone? And I also didn't have. I will say now I didn't have enough experience at that point either. Like I had 3.5 years, but I needed more for myself to be ready than just that. But that was also part of, you can say, my secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Also keep engaging than just that. But that was also part of, you can say, my secret.
So my secret mission.
Mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. And then I started getting like a person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. And then that kept going. Like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. But
okay,
people reaching out to me. And then that kept going. Like not like all the time, but every now and then something would.
So we have to delete this part here. So let's see. This, I don't know why it's moving. This has to go to here. Pam, I don't understand why it's moving with it. Anyways, so let's see at which point are we now.
I've done a lot of work since I started in the beginning of this month, but I feel I haven't worked a single day because I've been so motivated to get my own thing up and running. But what started this thing is, I guess, been desire that has been.
So this whole part we don't need anymore, because the whole message we want to deliver is why you start a solo business.
But what started this thing is, I guess, been desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computers.
This break we need to remove.
Forever. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Like who will buy it? I don't even know people who. Like who will buy.
So we can remove this thing because it's repetitive. As you see, editing a short can be as intensive as editing a video.
Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. Like how would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network.
So here we have to edit this
My
part.
secret mission with like also keep.
This breaks needs to be removed because it's not useful. It has to be short. It has to be as short as possible. Pam 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 pam. It's to be go pam 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 pam. It's very difficult.
But what started this thing is, I guess, been desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. Like how would I sell this service to anyone? My secret.
This also, it's repetitive.
Like how would I
Pam, this whole thing needs to go.
people who would hire me? How would I sell this service to anyone?
It's okay.
My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. And then I started getting and
So all this and this pause here, gone. You need to cut. Probably we're gonna cut all this stuff I cut so far, but this is how you have to.
Then
go.
I
This is how I go
started-
through the. This is how I go through the process. It's maybe at the end I say, okay, it needs to be way shorter, because
Then
I like long form content, but the shorts are shorts.
then I started getting like a person every now and then
So
getting like
getting blah blah blah. Tang, Pem.
person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help
So this other break maybe we should keep, because otherwise it will sound weird.
contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. That kept going, like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. But at the same time, I was really happy. Like, I really enjoyed what I was doing. I had gotten a lot of freedom to actually do what I want. I think the position I had would be a dream position for myself and for other people as well. So it's like, okay, it's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then suddenly a recession.
So I'm wondering if I should delete all this part where he talks about his job and go directly to the recession. You know, like he wanted to do this stuff, but suddenly a recession.
Really enjoyed what I was doing. I had gotten a lot of freedom to actually do what I want. I think the position I had would be a dream position for myself and for other people as well. So it's like, okay, it's so stupid.
So
People as well. It's like, okay, it's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. Then suddenly a recession started to look like a possibility. As I remember sitting in at the end of November last year, I was like, I'm doing this. I definitely want to do this. And then came December along and I was like, but there's also a recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again. This, and then came December along. Definitely want to do this. And then came definitely want to do this. And then came.
So let's see if I can eliminate all this part. Pam, you have to stay patient with this stuff. It's not easy, but you really should. So probably it's here.
To start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then came December along and I was like, but there's also a recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this like voice saying like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it.
So I think we should finish it here.
So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I couldn't enjoy my work fully. But what started this thing
I couldn't turn it off anymore in the end. This is the final sentence.
So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I couldn't. end anymore.
Pam. We eliminate this stuff.
So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end.
So we are 30 seconds over the 1 minute, which is more or less here. So we have to eliminate a lot of things.
But what started this thing is, I guess, the desire that has been looming for a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever. Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build again a long time. Like for years, I knew that like I'm not going to be employed forever. Like
Perfect. So with this whole stuff that we edited, not needed anymore. And still there is a long way to go to eliminate a lot of things.
Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then
okay, so here he says to skip.
Like also keep
Pam.
like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then I started getting person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me? With, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me.
So people started to get
people reaching out to me. That kept going. Like not like all the time, but every now and then some. Like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. But at the same time, I was really happy. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I had gotten a lot of freedom to actually do what I want. I think the position I had would be a dream position for myself and for other people as well. It's like, okay, it's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then came December.
Okay, we eliminate this part. We're almost getting there. See the minute.
Would come into my inbox.
So here we have these big breaks we have to make shorter. Editing this kind of things is not easy. As you see, it's maybe as complicated as a long form video if you need to create it from a short.
It's so stupid to quit a job that you actually enjoy to start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then came December along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single.
Bam. Bam. This is also a great exercise.
Everything back in the box again. Until my wife was like, okay.
This is a great exercise to see how you talk. If you have a lot of pauses in your lines, it means you don't think so smoothly.
Okay, now you do it.
I mean, not to say anything against Timo, it happens to me too. So, but it's a good exercise.
So I constantly had this like voice saying to me, like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So that was what pushed me. I like this.
So now we gotta remove all this stuff.
Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then I started getting person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people
Accidentally
reaching out to me. That kept going. Like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. It's like, okay, it's so
here there was a log. So I'm gonna remove all this
to quit a job that you actually enjoy.
So we don't need this. We need to go directly to recession.
Start a business that you have no idea whether it will be like you even have any work to do. And then came December along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this like voice saying to me, like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore.
So we ended up to 55 seconds, I think. Yeah, something like that.
I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know people who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then I started getting person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. That kept going. Like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. And then came December along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this like voice saying to me, like,
let's reduce it a couple of frames further. Pam.
Voice saying to me, like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore.
So this is the short. Now what we need is captions, because nowadays the most important thing is to have captions on. So this is the biggest advantage of this software, is that if you go here to text, you can transcribe the sequence, and it goes English, transcribe, and it's going to transcribe the whole 55 seconds of what Timo is saying. So I don't have to do anything, whatever needed to do it. I'm really curious in the meanwhile why it's taking so much space. If it's this video, but this video is just 2 gigabytes or something. So I really don't know where my 15 gigs got eaten from. Really remarkable. At the end of the stream, I'm gonna manage. So here it transcribed everything. And now you go to, actually this one, create captions, Pam. So I'm gonna tell him make maximum 35 captions in a line, make everything a single line. And I'll tell him create, boom. Creating captions. And now here we go, we have captions. But what we're gonna do is we have to place the captions on the right position. So we go to Essential Graphics, we select all the captions, we put them here, we move to a frame where we see a caption, and we go pom 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 pom, So, and then you can modify a little bit. So he says, I have no network, but I'm going to write, I had no network. So that
I have no network. I have no idea how to.
I had no idea.
Sell computational design. Who will buy it? I don't even know.
I didn't even know.
People who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then I started getting person every now and then contacting me with, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. That kept going, like not like all the time, but every now and then something would come into my inbox. And then came December along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this voice saying to me, like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore. I have no network. I have no.
So the captions are fine. So I'm gonna delete just this final I. I'm gonna do like this, exclamation point. So we have this stuff. And what we're gonna do now, it's add a little text here and says the struggle of going independent, so that whoever as a designer maybe, or the struggle of going solo as a designer. So we're gonna cancel, select all this thing, go again here, select articulate heavy oblique. We're gonna make it centered. We're gonna make it bigger. Bam. And now we're gonna do our trick with the background, because this is kind of becoming the TCI branding solution. Pam. Expand this thing, make rounded corners. And one great thing that, again, this software has is that you can go here and tell that this thing should be perfectly centered into the frame. The struggle of going solo as a designer. Maybe we wouldn't need the exclamation point. We can try to see what happens if we just have it selected and go tank. I don't know. If you want, you tell me which one you like better. I have no idea. And then we expand this thing for the whole part of the short. So it's a 55-second short.
Like I have no network. I have no idea how to sell computational design. Who will buy it?
So this is how it's going to look like. Now we can select all these things and tell them to be, for example, articulate, regular oblique. We can make them a little bigger.
And I don't even know people who would hire me. How would I sell this service to anyone? My secret.
So in this video, in this case, it works nice because the white captions pops up in the background. That's Timo, and he has a dark t-shirt. And also you don't have to go too much lower, because if you go like here, for example, on YouTube or Instagram, here already you'll have some captions of your text. So maybe in the case of this video for Timo,
maybe the option would be even better to go like above his head. Although I don't like this because it's too much and people don't go to look that up. So I think right below his chin is perfect.
Mission with like also keep engaging with LinkedIn was to build up a network. Then I started getting person every now and then.
A little bit lower maybe is good, so that because he has a double line.
Hey, can you help me with this? Or like, do you have any ideas for that? And I started to get people reaching out to me. That kept going, like not like all the time, but every now and then.
One option to make, for example, you can use, I use a shadow. If I turn on the shadow, it's gonna be less visible. Another possibility, it's using a stroke. So you go, for example, use a black stroke. And you can maybe make it like outer and make it a little thicker. And in my case, I can use, I don't know, the same or similar color like the thing. See?
Then something would come into my...
Oh, it doesn't look nice. Probably black is better. My
inbox, and then came December.
But I prefer the shadow. You can use both depending on what you like. I was starting to do all this stuff that are a little thicker, but then I decided not to do it that way anymore.
Along, and I was like, but there's also recession definitely coming. I won't find a single customer. And I actually put everything back in the box again until my wife was like, okay, now you do it. So I constantly had this voice saying like, you have to do it, you have to do it, you have to do it. So that was what pushed me. Like this, I couldn't turn it off in the end anymore.
Yeah. So this is how it's going to be the final result. And yeah, I think this is the whole process for making clips, videos, and recording the podcast. And then for the promotion, this is part of the promotion. So you drop this on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on every single platform. And you can, you can see how it works. So for a few minutes we went in the wrong scene. You couldn't see me. I don't know why it switched scenes. So now you should go and see me again. So now you see me again. So we completed the whole thing here. This is the short. It's 55 seconds. We add the text here on the top. You just make a text. You add the background. You expand the background. You can make again, I told you select all the captions, and to make them pop, you can do a little stroke or just a shadow, and then you can read them clearly. And this is more or less how we did everything, the promotion, like I showed you everything, the process. As you can see, we're almost 3 hours in. So this is how much it takes to make the podcast completely with all the content you see out there. When you see all the shorts, when you see all the clips, when you see the full videos. Let me go back into my full thing. So that was the process basically. Yes, now you see me full time. Yes, so this was the process of making everything. Now you know how much work there is behind it. I hope you like the guests. I hope you like the show. I like the format. And if you want to have the real experience and get to watch the recordings live where you can ask your own questions, join the Patreon group. All the links are below. Or if you want to just listen to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video, reshare it, share with your friends, share on your social media, so that we reach more people. So that was it for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.